Hello everybody, and how you doing? This is Patrick from Vicious Computers, and I just want to say I'm back. At least for now I'm back. I've been so busy. I started a new job a year ago and it's been nonstop, and of course everything going on right now with the coronavirus has thrown an IT guy like myself just completely upside down with all the technical challenges and a lot going on with family and other things. So I've taken quite a bit of a break. And just now I'm finding myself with the time and resources to get back into it, and I want to start bringing you a whole new slew of videos as I enter into some of my hobbies, passions, and just love teaching you guys the things I'm learning or the things I'm interested in. So today it's going to be a tutorial video. I'm actually going to show you something that I had to go through today. One of the things I wanted to do was start building a new library of videos and bringing you additional content at a high quality. So I've got some new gear. For example, the microphone I'm using right now is a Synco Mic D2, and that's a shotgun microphone running off my Behringer mixer, and I think it sounds way better than the Shure SM58 that I was using before, and I was using some MXL microphones before that. So a little bit more background noise, but the shotgun pattern is actually nice for not picking up a whole bunch of noise. The other thing I have, it's not brand new, I've had it for a while, is I bought myself an ultra-wide monitor. I used to use three 24-inch monitors, and I love triple monitors for both gaming and productivity. But I wanted to have a high refresh rate gaming monitor that was ultra-wide for that, immersion that I got from the triple screen gaming. And that presented an interesting challenge. The ultra-wide monitor is terrible for doing screen captures and things of that nature for YouTube videos, because if I do a full screen capture, the aspect ratio, which is like 21:9 or something, I can't remember, it's too wide and it'll crop the top and the bottom. So for example, if you're watching this as a 1080p stream and I show my full desktop, it's going to look like that. And that would be not really readable if I'm doing fine text things, which oftentimes if I'm doing command prompts and things like that, you want to make sure that's very legible and easy to read. And why waste all that extra space of those black bars on top and bottom? Now you just change your screen capture program to capture a region of the screen and crop it in. That's not the challenging part. The tutorial is not about that. The tutorial is how to work around this and not let it really slow you down. Now one of the great things about Windows 10 is this Windows snapping. If you snap, let's go back to the full desktop here. Snap a window over to the left, it'll snap up to the half of the screen. Snap a window to the right, and if you go to the top, it maximizes. So rather than trying to keep an eye on my capture and manually trying to resize windows, which would be very slow and a pain in the butt, I wanted a way to snap them so that they just fit. And that's exactly what I have here. I have a snap. I can just do it anytime I want, snap it to the center, and if I go back to the cropped mode, you'll see that that basically is a full screen maximize for us when we're streaming and capturing the screen. How did we accomplish this? So first of all, it's going to be talking about a free product you can get. So go to Google and search for Windows 10 PowerToys, and that's going to take you to a GitHub page. This is straight from Microsoft, and it goes way back to Windows 95 days. Some geeky, techie guys wanting to create some extra tools to help make productivity better and increase the functionality of the operating system. That's the kind of person I am. I write my own custom programs all the time. Heck, you guys have seen this thing, right? Opens up my mixer console, turns off some of my power stuff, some readings. This is just a minor taste of some of the stuff I do just for fun on the side. Well, if you scroll down a little bit further, there's going to be a link to the releases page, and you can scroll down from there and you can download the installation MSI. Once you install PowerTools, you're now going to have it running over in the bottom right of your taskbar, and you can open it up and see that we have some cool new integrations into the operating system. The one that we're interested in today is Fancy Zones, and what that is it's custom snapping. So for example, if I go to Edit Zones, you can see it comes with some pre-built templates here for how Windows could snap. So if I was to choose one of these templates and activate it, I'd have these new snapping zones. What I like about the tools is that it doesn't interfere with my normal snapping. It's still there. You have to use a hotkey to activate your special zones, and by default it's Shift. So as long as I hold the Shift key, all of a sudden I have the new zone options. So that's really the most important thing. It lets me work very quickly. It lets me maximize windows to fit the screen and know that they're going to show up on a presentation and take up my entire screen and not slow me down. Now here's where we get to a bit of a tutorial. The big thing is, how are you going to create the perfect zone to snap to? How are you going to get it to fit the screen just right? And so I'm going to show you two techniques. The way that I did it, which involves building a template file, and then the way that I thought about it after I built it when I was doing the changes in my capture software. So we'll go through both of them. Let's cancel out of this. And let's talk about math. So we know if we go to display settings and we look at this ultra wide monitor, it is a 2560 by 1080p resolution. Yes, I would like to get a higher resolution monitor, but at the time, this was the only one I could afford. So we know that the desired resolution is 1080p, 16 by 9 aspect ratio, which would be 1920 by 1080. What I did was I went to Photoshop. And you could do this with a different image editor, but I'm familiar with Photoshop. I've used it for a long time. And I created a brand new file that was 2560 by 1080. And this image, this background, represents my entire screen. And then I went and created another file that was 1920 by 1080. And this one would represent the desired portion of my screen. So what I did, I'll make this one black. I'll just fill that background with black. And I'll change this to an image instead of a background. And if you hold Shift on Photoshop, it will automatically center. So boom, instantly, I just created an image that represents my entire desktop, and the white area represents where I want things to be. You could set this as a desktop background if you really wanted to, but I didn't want to do that. And again, the idea is we don't really want to manually keep an eye on our capture area. When I'm working on screen, I don't want to be eyeballing the capture video at all. I want to just be focusing on what I'm showing you. So I saved this to an image, and I'll show you that image right now. And I just called it my template, 1080p template. And I opened it up and then I full screened it. And let me back up to my full desktop so you can see that this image, if I look at my full desktop, when it's full screened, will give me the perfect fit for where I want to build that snap area. So I full screened it, and then I tabbed over to the PowerToys and I went to Edit Zones, created a new custom one, and I'll go back to the one I did for the tutorial. I'll delete that one, and we'll say create a new one. We'll add a zone, and you can just drag these around, and I got it to look exactly like the image on screen. And we'll call this tutorial. Save it and apply it. Now I have a new snapping zone. So if I take this window and I hold the Shift key, I get my zone and I can snap to it. If we crop back in, now you can see that things can go off screen, but if we snap them, boom. So that's how I handled this issue. I thought, it was a kind of a smartish way to handle the problem. And I think it would probably save some of you a lot of hassle and frustration if you're stuck in a similar circumstance. Now you don't have Photoshop and you don't want to create an image template. There's another way that I thought you could probably rough this and figure out how to do it without those. So this is the other way I thought about solving the problem. I'm going to drag OBS over, which is what I'm doing the screen captures with. And I have two captures here. I have my full desktop and the cropped desktop. And you can see a live preview of what's being captured. So you might not get as exact. It might be a little bit more trouble, but what I thought you could do, instead of getting the snap first and then building the capture around the snap, you could build the capture first and then size your snap to the capture. Meaning what I see on screen when I'm in the cropped mode, I could watch this when it's on my other monitor, hopefully you have 2 monitors. I don't know if this would be really possible in just 1 monitor unless you constantly tab back and forth. And I would size that snap window to fit the capture area. So the challenge there is, how can you create the capture area and get it just right? And for that, we'll go to our friend Math. Remember, we have a 2560 pixel resolution horizontally, and our 1920 by 1080p resolution leaves us with a difference of 640 pixels. I chose to have my crop area in the center of the monitor rather than off to one of the sides. Just makes it a little bit more natural when I'm working, even though it cuts off the start button and stuff as far as the capture goes. Most of the time I don't want viewers really seeing that anyways. So I will go ahead and, as a matter of fact, I could crop this and then bring it out a little bit more. I might do that later. So 640 pixels is the difference. I want that divided equally across both sides, which means 320 pixels to the left and right need to be cropped. Instead of dragging this around and moving it around and trying to finagle that by hand, what you can do is create a new capture for your screen. So if I go to the properties of this, you'll see it's just a display capture. And then I can go to transform, edit transform, and I just can manually type in a 320 pixel difference and create the perfect center screen capture without any human error getting involved by dragging a mouse around. And then I can just look at this capture as I drag and create my snap zone. So that is the process. 2 ways to solve the same problem. A free program you might not have known about that is pretty awesome, and it replaces what it could be potentially some paid software because there's other features in there besides just the snapping. The other one I thought would be very nice is this Power Rename, because it actually gives you the ability to do bulk renaming, search and replace, and even regular expressions. If you know regular expressions, they're super awesome and very powerful stuff. It's going to look like Hebrew and Egyptian when you first start learning it, but once you get the hang of it, it's really cool. And without going on too much longer, we're almost getting close to 15 minutes. For a simple tutorial, that's a pretty good time to call it. So I hope you guys are happy to see I'm back with some new videos. Feel free to ask questions, give me comments. You know, I'll try to keep up with it. I have new toys, I have new ideas, I have new videos on the way. I'll be producing them as I get an opportunity. Everything from audio, I started playing with Reaper and playing bass, to some really techie, geeky stuff like automation, home automation, some server stuff, some switch stuff. I got new switches on my rack. I finally got my ICX 6610 and 6450 brocade switches on the rack and running right now. So there's definitely a lot of really cool stuff coming down the pipeline. So once again, this was Patrick from Vicious Computers, and I'll see you guys next time.